Welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the jobs and business news podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is that very same podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. I spent the entirety of that theme song trying to turn down the television. And it's still pretty high. It's still pretty high, but you know it's working. You might hear some animals chewing in the background. By chewing, I mean munching away, screaming. They were screaming at me. I was being screamed at. Well, by one in particular. She's tiny and has little feet, and her birthday was last week. Yes, the cat was yelling at me. Luna, sorry, I'm clearing out my email. Is this the time to do it? Welcome back in. This is episode 114 of the show. Maverick Drinks is the loudest drinker in the world. It is Memorial Day next week, and I'm not doing an episode of this show next week, nor am I doing an episode of Late Night Lately. I was not going to do Late Night Lately. Well, no, I am doing Late Night Lately this week. Regardless, this is the last week for Stephen Colbert's Late Show and the Late Show in general. So I will be doing just a wide mass covering of this week, and not really covering any other show. Seth is the only one who's off. Doesn't matter. That's not the right show. What else is going on? We just met with the Maverick, and I just met with the pet sitter. We do have to get a pet sitter this weekend because I am going to a wedding, and it's going to be out of town, and I'll be gone for 3 days or 2 days, 2 nights. Doesn't matter. So Maverick and Luna will be getting my first ever pet sitter. I've never had to get people to take care of any of the animals until this very people that they didn't know. Excuse me. I've got I've had to get people I've dated to come take care of Nova, and then when I had Maverick, Nova, and Maverick, eventually. If you don't know, Nova was the previous cat. She died last year. Anyway. Oh, all right. Let's get into these stories. I have 3 stories. 2 dealing with AI. 1 dealing with a strike. The first story comes from the New York Times, and it came as a surprise. Well, not really, because it's in such a big area. Let's just cover it. Doesn't matter. Let's just go over it. The LIRR strike ends after tens of thousands endure lengthy commutes. It's written by Stefanos Chen and Ashley Southall. Saturday evening, the Long Island Railroad strike began. If you don't know what happened, the strike started, and because the railroad passengers, the railroad service workers, and the transit authorities and unions, they all wanted an increase in pay, and as well as some other things. So they all went on strike. Monday, if you looked at Google Maps from Long Island to New York, it was the driving would be an hour and a half, as you know, per usual, more or less. But the train service, oh my God, it was insane. On Monday, at around 5, I was like, let me see what this is like. And I went, oh boy. 10 a.m. I was like, oh, this is horrible. But I couldn't compare it. But around 5, it was horrible. But it ended. It ended after rush hour, just in time for rush hour for today. It ended yesterday, a little bit into rush hour, but it ended. You know, today is the day that it's gradually back in service. It's the busiest passenger rail service, apparently. Roughly 270,000 people a day between New York and the eastern suburbs. Go in. Governor Kathy Hochul sounded triumphant at a news conference alongside officials from the Metropolitan Transportation Authority late Monday, emphasizing that the deal would avoid raising taxes and fares. Officials did not disclose details of the labor agreement, noting that the contract must still be ratified. So we'll find out maybe in a week about what was gained. There are people who were only able to drive in or take an Uber in, but an Uber would be so expensive. Like, think about it. It'd be roughly like commuting to, I don't know, from Atlanta to Chattanooga. Roughly. It's the rough thing. Members of the 5 unions that represent about half the Long Island Railroad Service workforce, which is more than 3,500 employees, including engineers, signal workers, and others who are vital to train operations, walked off the job early Saturday morning. Excuse me, not Saturday evening. So it was Saturday morning. After 3 years of failed efforts to secure higher wages, they have not received a raise since 2022. That's crazy. Now, what the workers were aiming for was a 5% raise. What MTA wanted was 3. The deal that was signed now included what effectively amounted to a 4.5% wage increase in 2026 over a period slightly longer than a year. So let's pretend 18 months. Everyone's going to get a 4.5% wage increase. The state comptroller's office had said before the weekend that you never see past participles anymore, except on stupid people, that the strike could cost the region $61 million a day in lost economic activity. Think about it. Think of how many people who commute into Manhattan that don't necessarily have high-paying jobs. They just have jobs that help them live in the suburbs of New York. Not everybody who commits in from Connecticut or Long Island or deep Queens or Jersey is working a high-paying job. Some of these people just work maybe a high-end retail job, or maybe they work as an office administrator and they can't afford to live in the city. And those people commit. Those people give as much to society economically as the Wall Street bros do. And then let's keep in mind that the Knicks are playing the Cavs, New York Knicks, Cleveland Cavaliers, at MSG, Madison Square Garden, on Tuesday, which is today, in the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals. So imagine living on Long Island, having tickets to that, and then them saying, "Hey, we're on strike." It would take you 3 hours to get into the city. I don't know. And then Memorial Day, of course. Earlier in negotiations, the unions said they were willing to accept a retroactive 9.5% wage increase covering the last 3 years. The same deal the MTA offered several other transit and civil service unions in recent months. But they were also seeking up to a 5% raise in the current year, a demand that exceeds what the agency has offered to other unions. The 9.5%... Luna, stop. Jesus. She picks up... I gave her wet food today. She picks up the wet mat when she's finished and she slams it on the ground constantly. And then so much so that I will come over, it's out of the kitchen and it's flipped over and and the remnants of food are just dragged on the ground. Not remnants, just like scraps that she will of course pick at. But she'll eat it all. Cash compensation for members of the 5 holdout unions averaged over $136,000 in 2025, according to MTA figures, making them among the highest paid rail workers in the nation. Wow. The unions rejected an MTA proposal that would have required new employees to cover more healthcare costs under a model different from the one current employees use. We're going to find out what happens. Again, we're going to get all the details in coming weeks. But this is a win over time. Okay. This next one comes from Engadget. It's written by Mariella Moon. Meta is reportedly reassessing 7,000 employees to AI-focused roles. Excuse me, reassigning. I saw reassessing and I said, that's the right word. Meta's not owned. They laid off thousands of workers on Wednesday due to artificial intelligence. They're now moving people to new roles. So what this essentially means is that somebody who did not work with an AI tool before is now going to have to start using an AI tool in whatever role they're being moved to. This comes from via Reuters and the New York Times. Meta HR head Janelle Gale has notified employees that 7,000 of them will be moved to 4 new organizations focused on building new AI tools and apps. It's important to note that today is Google I/O, which is their press conference where they indicate what they're doing with the Chromium and Android and other Google product platforms and devices over the coming year or years. But it happens every single year. Same thing with like the Apple things and the Samsung conferences, whatever. Who gives a shit? But I was looking through my RSS feed that gathers all the stories from all the tech places that I read, all the news sources that I read. But in my tech section, I was just scanning through the headlines, and Google's introduced this more AI shit. It's more AI. New smart glasses that use AI, how they're implementing more models in the Gemini, and how Android is going to be uplifted by AI. The internal memo that was sent by Gale said that the restructuring, quote, will make the company more productive and make the work more rewarding. They're going to be using new AI native design structures. Just grabbed 4 words and put them together and said, this is a phrase. And will not have as many layers of management per employee. So it seems like this Meta is making it seem as though you have to answer to less people, but you're still going to be doing more AI work. It doesn't make sense. There should be in more and more layers, especially when it comes to AI. Everybody was working from home on Wednesday, May 20th. And Wednesday, May 20th, they've been told to work from home and to wait for Meta's email about their possible new roles, though some of the workers have already been transferred. The company will also be sending out notifications to some of the people that will be laid off that day. What a bitch move. How dare you? Stay home. Either you're going to get a new role or you're going to be laid off. Remember, 8,000 jobs are set to be cut from Meta. They'll also be closing 6,000 open jobs. In the memo, Gale also said that this was, quote, part of Meta's continued effort to run the company more efficiently. They're all talking about efficiency. It doesn't make sense. Nothing at Cartoon Network when everybody was getting laid off and we had to move to the Adult Swim building across the street, across a highway, it was that they talked about efficiency. But I put on Cartoon Network now, and it's the only thing efficient about it is that they play 2 shows. And it's not even Teen Titans Go anymore. It used to be Teen Titans Go. Now it's all Waiting for Gumball. Not even the Amazing World of Gumball. It's Waiting for Gumball. And if you don't know what that is, they were waiting for a new season of Gumball, and they retitled the show Waiting for Gumball. It wasn't even like a new and never mind. Nobody wants to hear me talk about cartoons. Although they brought back a regular show. It's been good. It's the same show. All right, and this final one comes from Engadget again, written by Carissa Bell. LinkedIn doesn't want your AI slop anymore. While Google is introducing more AI, there's a new AI tool for YouTube where people can put themselves into other people's videos, and that's dumb. But where other companies are turning hard into AI. LinkedIn, a company that this show is named after, a company that I no longer use. I had somebody at the gym go, he's an older gentleman. He's like, hey, I'm trying to find you on LinkedIn. And I was like, no, I don't have LinkedIn anymore. Just follow me on Strava. Please just follow me on Strava. LinkedIn blows. Also, one time, this is very true. When I was at Cartoon Network, there are people of a lot of ages there at Warner Brothers. And in Cartoon Network, there were a couple of young ladies in my office, and we knew each other. I would talk to them every so often, but since it was like a work from home role, I would only go into the office like two times a week. And then when I was laid off, no. I think so. I don't remember. Anyway, I saw one of them on Hinge, and I was like, "Hey, we know each other from Cartoon Network." And she was like, "I remember you, a cutie like you." And I was like, "The fuck?" I was like, "No, we follow each other on LinkedIn." And then she had we never went on a date. I was like, and I remember this person. And we talked for a little bit, and then but we never talked about Cartoon Network or whatever, Warner Bros. Or whatever. And then we just never went out. Like, I asked her, and I just never. It's just one of those a ghosting situation, as typical dating is for me. But as I keep going to these weddings, I will be forever alone. All right. If you spend any time on LinkedIn, then you know this can't that the company is taking new steps to reduce the amount of AI generated crap you see on there. In a blog posted by the VP of Product, Laura Lorenzetti. Okay. She says the changes will target everything from outright engagement bait. I know everything I just said was like a cobbled together sentence. Is because I was skipping around. I'm very sorry. VP of Product Laura Lorenzetti wrote a blog, and she said this in regards to the AI generated crap that is popping up on LinkedIn, that has been popping up on LinkedIn for the past couple of years. There's going to be changes that will target everything from outright engagement bait to recycled thought leadership. You know what I'm talking about if you're on LinkedIn, and other generic content that lacks the authenticity and originality. She took a quote from that, from the memo, and it doesn't make, or from the blog, and it doesn't make sense. The content that lacks the authenticity and originality of what? For what? Okay. From what? Who what? Where what? The company is also taking aim at posts and comments that have obvious signs of AI construction, like it's not X, it's Y. It's, oh my God, I hate that. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. Oh man, I hate that AI crap. They're not sharing what they're using to detect or define AI slop. Also, I'm not a fan of the phrase is AI slop. Any of that. But says that engineers collaborated with its in-house editorial team to identify, quote, patterns in how members engage, recognizing what adds perspective, context, and expertise versus what simply repeats existing ideas without contributing anything new. I think it's very important that there was a meme going around. I guess this is what you would call a meme. But a guy was, I think, and I'm really going to ruin this, but a guy proposed and he said, now this is going to ruin it. LinkedIn meme proposal. Oh, yes. Oh, my God. I found it. Well, his name is... I'm not going to say it. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Here we go. This is from Reddit. I proposed to my girlfriend this weekend. Here's what it taught me about B2B sales. Oh, his name's on the video. I don't give a shit. I don't care. You did that to yourself. Why would you do like it's insane that you would. I hate it when people post personal things on LinkedIn. I don't even like it when I'm listening to a podcast and people talk about personal things. Hey man, this is a comedy podcast. This is an alternative comedy a podcast, improv podcast. Why are we talking about this? This is a food review podcast. Calm down. But it's just insane to me that you would do something like that on what is supposed to be a professional platform, where in the same platform I post and that gets 70,000 likes and comments, and then I post, "Hey, I don't have a job," and then people are like sending me private messages. "You shouldn't be posting that. How dare you?" When these AI created posts, supplemented posts are identified by LinkedIn, they will no longer appear in other users' recommendations, though they'll still be viewable to a person's direct connections and followers. This is huge. This is huge news. I enjoy it. I was going to say huge, and then I stopped myself, and I was like, it's not that big. But I think it's good. I think it's great news. I don't think that we need people are using these AI tools as a get out of jail free card when it comes to pretty much doing anything. Whenever I get emails to the C Plus Comedy email account now, it's always, besides this stuff that I signed up for, like Variety or Rolling Stone or whatever, and besides the people that I know that are emailing me that are like, "Hey Chad, come, would you like to talk to this person? Would you like to talk to this person?" It's ridiculous that somebody would send me, "Oh man, Chad, I love this episode of the Constitutionals when you talked about the Barry Weiss working at CBS News and how she doesn't deserve the job." Anyway, it got me thinking about how you can talk to this right-wing podcaster or this business person. And it's very clear, and I never answer those. And as of late, in the past, I would say 6 months, I've gotten some emails from people who are representing Luna. Stop. Jiminy Christmas. From people who are representing social media influencers, and they're real. And I look at the social media influencer, and they have they have good engagement on their posts. I will say that, but they have 300,000, 500,000 followers, and I'll go, fine. I don't know what I'll talk to this person about, but I'll talk to them. And then the people are like, "Oh, they're on vacation. They're traveling right now. They have a busy schedule." Like, why don't we just send me something? But in their emails, it's very clear that they used copy paste AI thing. I'll tell you, this is a little bit job related. A couple of weeks ago, I was setting up. I was going through what I typically do when I need to reach out to people to get interviews. Because sometimes I have to reach out, but when I need to reach out to people, sometimes I'll just go through all the PR. Luna, hey, I'll go through all the PR websites that I have accounts on, like Netflix and NBC and whatever. This happened a couple of weeks ago. I have 2 separate folders for work. One is for resume and cover letter, all that stuff. And then another one is for C Plus Comedy. And I created late last year. I created an interview template that says, "Hey, here's an interview pitch template. Hey, this is who I've spoken to, how long we've been around. This is the general." I hate saying this, vibe of what C Plus Comedy is. And I've spoken to Craig Ferguson, Larry the Cable Guy, Maria Bamford, and Jen Kirkman, and Ron Funches, and Jermaine Fowler, and all these other people. And I'll do all that. And Janelle James, and Tiffany Haddish, because I know famous people. Anyway, I don't. But I have that set up. And I was worried. This is stupid. I went to the wrong folder, and I sent out eight emails. 7 of them included my resume and not the pitch template. So the resume was just like, it was like, I work at this company now. I've previously worked at other companies. And people respond, "Hey Chad, thanks for this, but we don't need, they're busy." And I'd look at the email and go, "Oh shit, that's my resume." And I can never talk to those people ever again. But they would respond with CCs from the entire, marketing, like especially at Netflix. They will, when they respond to me, because they usually don't, but when they do respond to me, they'll respond with a whole team of people, and it is embarrassing when there's 15 people on an email and my resume is up there. Oh, this guy works at blank. All right, that's competition. And then some of the people that I sent the pitch deck to just didn't respond. So my resume gets more responses. That's crazy. All right, I'm done. Listen. Sorry. I'm drunk. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see pretty much every interview I've ever done. I'm still missing a few, and they're on a laptop somewhere. If you want to see a video version of this show, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see a video version of the other podcast, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. It's got a monologue, so check it out. And The Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News Show. On that same RSS feed, you can also check out The Interviews, which is an interview series where I interview celebrities. Check it out. It's great. Video versions of the interviews are found at youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at cpluscomedy on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok. Me on those platforms at Chad Black White. There's the kitty in the back. We'll see you next time. Bye.